So, Aditya, on the 3rd of September, the government announced a major GST reform. Right? Among the many sectors that were impacted, insurance premiums, both health and life, will no longer attract GST. That's a huge shift.
Before 22nd September, you would have to pay 18% GST. Right? After 22nd September, that entire 18% GST now becomes 0% or nil GST. The GST component will now become zero for this policy as well.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Tata Neu Money Fin Talks. I'm your host, Amit Haralalka, Head of Growth Marketing for Financial Services on Tata Neu. We're launching this podcast series to demystify personal finance concepts for our consumers. We know it can be challenging, and we want to be part of every step of your decision journey on financial services. Today, we are talking about a topic that is very pertinent and being talked about heavily since the last week. Is regarding the recent GST announcements, specifically for insurance. And to speak about this, I've got with me my colleague Aditya Satpute, who heads the insurance business on Tata Neu. And he knows what the impact of these changes will be for consumers. Welcome to the show, Aditya.
Thank you so much, Amit, for having me here today. I'm excited to be part of the first episode of Tata Neu Money Fin Talks.
So, Aditya, on the 3rd of September, the government announced a major GST reform. Right? Among the many sectors that were impacted, insurance premiums, both health and life, will no longer attract GST. That's a huge shift. And naturally, a lot of questions will be on our consumers' minds on what does this mean for my premiums and so on. We'll try to cover this in simple terms. But what are your initial thoughts on this?
So on 3rd September, the government announced a series of changes in the GST rates, and they're calling it the next generation GST reforms. And they've done these changes across sectors, be it automobile, be it healthcare, education. But among all, my belief is insurance has been the biggest beneficiary.
Right.
Earlier, if the GST on the insurance premium that you paid or I paid was as high as 18%, that is now brought down to zero.
Right.
Which means there is nil GST now on any insurance premium that you and I will pay as individuals.
So this means that it applies to all categories of insurance, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But let's break it down to make it simple and easy because there are different kinds of insurance products, right? So let's take it step by step. Number one is pure risk or pure protection, right? For example, term plans.
Right.
Term plans are pure risk products. What is a term plan? You pay a certain premium for a large cover. If there's an unforeseen eventuality or death of the policy holder, that large sum goes to the family members,
right,
or to the nominee.
This is the basic term insurance that pure protection.
Pure protection products. Yeah. On a product like this, the rate was as 18%.
Right.
I'll give an example. Let's take an example of a friend who's age 25 who took a 1 crore cover for cover till age 60, which means I'm age 25. I want to take an insurance policy till I'm age 60. Right. If I die, then my family gets 1 crore. If I don't die, then that's okay. The premium, was
the cost of protection.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So premium typically for somebody at that age would be about 10,000 rupees per year.
Right.
Now, in the older era or the era that exists before 22nd September, 22nd September is the date when the new GST reforms will go live. To explain, in a summary format, if you are buying a term life or a life cover, where the same individual pays 10,000 rupees every year, right, till he's age 60 from the age 25, he gets a term life cover of 1 crore, right? Before 22nd September, you would have to pay 18% GST, right? After 22nd September, that entire 18% GST now becomes 0% or nil GST. So you're actually saving 1,800 rupees on the 10,000 rupees premium that you're paying every year.
Significant.
Now that means that for the same amount of money, you can now look at a higher cover or you have a direct saving of 18%.
So I think you've spoken about term insurance or what is commonly called life insurance or life cover, right? What does this mean for health insurance or the medical cover side of things?
So you're referring to the health insurance products that you and I buy
yes.
From the general insurance or health insurance companies.
Correct.
just for the sake of simplicity and understanding, I take a cover of 10 lakh rupees, hospitalization cover for self and family, and the premium is 10,000 rupees. On the 10,000 rupees in the current era, I will be paying 18% GST. So the premium comes to be 10,000 plus 1800. If I now take a policy where the premium is to be paid after 22nd September, this entire 18% becomes zero or nil GST, which means it's only 10,000 and zero GST.
Right.
Right? And again, it's great savings that in summary, again, on a health insurance product at an individual level that you and I pay to the health insurance companies or general insurance companies, your premium now will be not attracting any GST effective 22nd September.
Great. So we've covered pure protection plans, right? Let's now cover another very large category that consumers have adopted on insurance, which is investment based plans, or what we call ULIPs.
So ULIPs are actually two-in-one products, right? There's an insurance component and then there's an investment component,
Yeah.
right? And what happens is, simple example again, right? As a consumer, the consumer decides to invest 10,000 rupee per month in a ULIP or an investment plan.
Right.
The benefit of this plan is that a large component of your money actually goes into investment. A small component of that covers your mortality charges, right? So that if there is an eventuality before you achieved your financial goal, the insurance component helps you to achieve your end goal. Right? That's the basic thought process around ULIP. So let's assume in the same example, 10,000 rupee, a small portion of that money goes towards mortality or insurance premium charges. A little more money goes into fund management charges, because in ULIPs or investment linked plans, your investment goes into a fund, and that fund is managed by expert fund managers, right? The charges again is very small.
Right.
To just give you an example, on this 10,000 rupee, the total charge that the customer ends up paying is in the range of 1 to 2%, right?
Okay.
There may be a few product charges, etc., but all of that is in this range only. On this entire charge, the total amount of money that you were paying as GST, right, was 18%. So imagine 10,000 rupee,
Right.
1 to 2% as charges, and 18% of that 1 to 2% is very minuscule.
Very small.
Right?
Yeah.
So before 22nd September or the current era that we are in today, you can just imagine the calculation.
Yeah.
What happens now after 22nd September is that the money that is deducted as GST, which is again very small, will get plowed back into the fund. So you will get a small bumper in your returns per se. But if you ask me honestly, the change is not very big as far as ULIPs or investment linked plans are.
Unlike term and health, where the change is much larger.
Absolutely. It's large. It's really large.
Great. It's very helpful. And what about another sort of very pertinent category to a lot of consumers, which is the endowment plan or the savings based plan? What's going on there?
So endowment, or what we all call the traditional insurance policy, right? Your parents, my parents would have taken these policies from their agents. Those are all endowment plans. They're different from ULIPs. In this case, what happens is the insurance company guarantees a certain return at the end of the tenure of the policy. Again, there is a insurance cover as well. This product, right, in the current GST era, attracts 4.5% GST for year one, and then for subsequent premiums, it attracts 2.25% GST. So let's assume that my father had purchased an endowment plan where he was paying 10,000 rupee premium per year.
Right.
So in the first year of the policy, he was paying 4.5%. In the same example, it will come to about 450 rupees.
Yeah.
And in the second year of the policy or subsequent years, he would be paying 2.25%, which is 225 rupees. What happens after 22nd September is that this entire amount now suddenly becomes zero or nil GST, which again means that at the end, the customer will get slightly bump up in the returns that he was expecting for a product of this particular nature.
Got it. So let's look at this, the date of 22nd September. Right? I think you touched a little bit about new policies issued post 22nd. Many of us have existing policies which may be up for renewals. How does this impact the premium that we pay on renewals for existing policies?
While the announcement happened on 3rd September, the new rates for the entire industry is going to be effective 22nd September. So the date of implementation or go live is 22nd September. I mean, the government actually assumed 22nd September because it's the first day of Navaratras, right? So they're trying to bring the whole GST reform, and that's why the date of 22nd September.
Interesting.
So let's take this example again, that if your policy is issued, a fresh policy is issued after 22nd September, then you pay zero or nil GST for any of the category that we spoke, be it term, be it health,
that we spoke,
be it endowment or ULIP.
Right.
What happens to existing policies? And let me take my example, right? I took a term plan way back in 2021, right? And I pay approximately 1,000 rupees per month of insurance premium.
Right.
On that, I pay 18% GST, right? And I've been doing this for the last 4 years. For the premium that is going to be due after 22nd of September, the GST component will now become zero for this policy as well.
Got it.
Right.
So ये जो premium due date बोलते हैं हम लोग कि when is the premium due?
Correct.
If that date is after 22nd,
Yeah.
then the GST is not applicable.
Yes, you're right. Right. So if my premium is due on 18th of September, for example, right, same example of mine, 1,000 rupee of premium, I'll have to pay 1,000 rupees plus 18%. Right? In this case, it is 180 rupees.
Yeah.
But if the due date is after 22nd September, assume 25th September, I only end up paying 1,000 rupees. 18% becomes zero on nil GST.
Got it. Got it.
Now, there is this very peculiar case that you have a due date, but you may end up paying any time. Right? Many customers pay in the grace period, they forget to pay, they come back later. If your due date of the renewal premium was before 22nd September, then you have to pay GST. Doesn't matter even if you end up paying the money after 22nd.
Okay, got it. So we can't sort of game this and say that, okay, but मैं 22 के बाद pay करूँगा तो मैं GST नहीं लगेगा.
No.
Because the due date is before 22nd, I will still incur GST even if I pay after.
Yes.
That's a very important clarification.
I think government has taken good care in clarifying the same. So due date becomes sacrosanct, and the cutoff date happens to be 22nd September.
Perfect. And so does this essentially means that it's in my best interest, at least for this year, if my due date is post 22nd, right? Now, for this narrow band of consumers who have their due dates before 22nd, would you suggest they cancel their policies and take another one?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So imagine my case, right? I took my policy in 2021, right? I was way younger, way healthier. And now imagine, just for the sake of GST, I go and cancel that policy and I go back and apply in the same company, right? Because I'm older now by 4 years, the premium for the same cover will be actually higher.
Sure.
Right, number one. I may have attracted a lot of health conditions also. So I have to again go and do medicals, right? May I have to redo my financials, etc. Which means it's a fresh process of applying a policy. If you ask me personally, never take any decision of altering your policy just because you want to save some money here and there in the case of GST changes or any other regulatory change, right?
Yeah.
Premium is important. Paying the premium on time is important because the main objective of the policy is life cover. Right. The objective of the policy is not to save GST.
Yeah.
Right. And in my case, imagine 180 rupees per month is something that I should not even think about.
Of course.
Right. And continue paying my premiums on time.
Yeah. Great. I think we've covered, the 4 categories. We've covered the impact of, the date of 22nd September. We've covered renewals, right? Maybe we look at, we spend just a couple of minutes on the macros, right? I mean, why did the government do this? What this means for insurers and hence what it means for consumers, right? So maybe having spent so much time in the industry, it'd be great to hear your thoughts.
Great, thank you. So let me first talk about why has the government even made this change, right? While many other industries have seen GST rates dropping from A levels to the lower B levels, the rate has dropped completely from whatever level it was to zero or nil GST for our sector. And I go back to this whole belief that that our government has, that insurance for all by 2047. This boost is actually going to help the industry, right, and improve insurance penetration, right. We are very underpenetrated as far as our entire population is concerned when you compare us to the developed world. And this move is going to make a big change, or I would say is going to actually boost insurance penetration. People like you and me will not now get worried कि मेरा इतना पैसा GST में जा रहा है, right? So we'll actually end up doing savings or end up using that to improve our insurance cover, right? And that's a great initiative by the industry. So that's as far as the government is concerned. For insurance companies, the calculation is a little different. So let's take an example of an insurance company. Let's call it insurance company A.
Yeah.
And insurance company A has underwritten policies of individuals. And let's assume that the total premium underwritten is 100 rupees. On that 100 rupees, they also collect 18% GST. So it's 100 plus 18% GST. Now, as an insurance company, the company will have their own expenses, right? There'll be goods and services that they would have also availed and incurred expenses.
Yeah.
And let's assume that number is 35. So on this 35 rupees, they were supposed to pay, or they were paying 18% GST, right? Which comes to be about 6 rupees for calculation's sake. Yeah. So earlier, they were having a benefit of these 6 rupees through this input tax credit concept, which means the 18 rupees that they collected as GST from their individual customers was getting offset.
Right.
And they were only depositing 18 minus 6, which is 12 rupees to the government.
Right.
So उनको 6 रुपए का benefit पहले मिलता था. Now if they're not collecting 18 rupees, then they have to end up submitting the entire 6 rupees, right? Or depositing this entire 6 rupees to the government.
From their own pocket, basically.
हाँ, as expenses. So suddenly, उनके जो खर्चे थे, they have suddenly now increased by 6 rupees.
Right.
That's the current situation that the insurance companies are. So while the individuals like you and me are all benefiting, the insurance companies will see some stress, I would not say huge stress, some stress due to this change in the GST reforms.
Got it. Just wearing the business hat, does this mean that insurers will over time, raise premiums to make up for this additional cost that they're incurring, or how do you see that pan out? Just purely your perspective, right? I mean, there are no right answers here, but just your perspective.
So when the benefit of this 6 rupees in this example will have gone eventually for them effective 22nd September, there will be some amount of stress that they will have on their P&L.
Right.
But I personally believe that insurance companies will not make knee-jerk reactions and raise prices immediately.
Right.
They will do that in a phased manner. Right? They also are very keen to look at insurance penetration. So in summary, the insurance company which were getting the benefit of input tax credit will no longer have that benefit.
Right.
And to that extent, there will be a pressure on their P&L to the extent of this input tax credit loss.
Got it. So does that mean prices will go up then for insurers to make up that deficit?
If you ask me, there will be some pressure on the P&L, and the insurance companies might, in the next 6 to 12 months, want to make good for the loss. So there will be there might be actually some amount of increase in prices, but I'm sure, I personally believe that they will do this in a very sensitive manner, because even they want insurance penetration to go up. Right? They want more individuals to come and buy policies.
Right.
And keeping that in mind, they might do this in a very slow and steady manner. It might be over the next 6 to 12 months or even longer. Right. It all depends.
So it'll be phased, gradual.
Absolutely.
No knee-jerk you don't see a knee-jerk.
I don't see any knee-jerk reaction happening right away.
Great. I think very helpful, Aditya. I think we covered a lot of different topics. Let me just summarize what this means, right? In terms of just 4-5 key takeaways, as we say, right? So number one, cheaper premiums.
Right.
For the same cost, right? Or for the same amount that you pay, you now get a higher cover, or simply save on premiums. Your choice, right?
Yes.
Takeaway two, focus on the right cover, not just the cheapest premium. Insurance is about, financial security. So choose the right cover rather than only looking at this as savings.
Right.
If you have an existing policy, takeaway three, if you have an existing policy, don't lapse or cancel those policies.
Correct.
You might, be able to save a little bit here or there on renewals, but anyways, next year onwards, the reduced pricing applies, right? So don't cancel or lapse any existing policies for this.
Right.
4, don't delay any new purchases, right? Purpose of insurance is protection.
Right.
And 5, expect some price increase once, insurers wake up and sort of look at what this means for the PNL. Is that right in terms of the 5 key takeaways?
Absolutely, absolutely. You just summarized it very well, all 5 important points, and I'm sure that this video will go a long way in de-jargonizing and simplifying the GST impact, which is definitely pro-consumer and pro-individuals like you and me, right? And I'm really hoping that everybody will now go ahead and improve the insurance cover that they want to buy.
Thanks, Aditya, for breaking it down so clearly. You made all of this GST stuff way less complicated and a lot more simple for all our consumers. So thanks a lot.
Thank you.
So that's a wrap of the first episode of Tata Neu Money FinTalks. We hoped you liked the content and the way we were able to demystify all of this for all of you. For more such content, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, keep your money moves smart and stay informed.